Welcome back to the second week of the NAL Playday number 4. And if yesterday was any testament to what you can expect here on this region, then today's going to be just a lot better. I do hope so. 5 best of ones coming your way. And you know what? Yesterday, halfway through the day, we had one of the EML people, his name's Fresh, in case you guys don't know, tweet, I am done watching the NAL. Don't really know what happened, but I think that kind of sums it up. I'm Ginny, joined with Foxay and Gabe. And you know what? Yesterday was really fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you're fresh and you're coming from the worst region in Siege, the EML, and you're watching the NA, you wouldn't be able to understand the tangibles. You wouldn't be able to understand the level of play. So it makes a lot of sense that he would stop watching. It was too much for his brain.
All right.
Well, let's jump into the first game, this Cruelty Dark Zero game. I'd say the biggest highlight that came through of this game was actually Rovy's 2K from his Claymore. But other than that, that really was about it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. For game 2, we saw Cloud9 absolutely overpeak, give Shopify every single 1v1, and they delivered. Shopify, we had a Surf 1v5. I mean, everybody on Shopify was on a highlight reel matchup this game, and they looked solid.
Going into game 3, the M80 wildcard, everyone had this one being the game of the day in terms of how well and how close it was going to be, and it really did go down to the wire. This big clutch from Kino in round 12 is what kept M80 alive and kept them through into the fight to close out that series.
Yeah, Envy looking as strong as ever, though, still at the top of the leaderboard, obviously, bringing it very close to standby, but they had an amazing clutch themselves in that last round to be able to close it out, bringing back the retake.
Again, this was another one that I think everyone across the board, even including us here on the desk, thought SSG was going to walk away with this, given how many times these two have gone toe-to-toe where SSG always seems to be punching harder. That wasn't the case here. Oxygen came prepared, especially on those attacks.
Yeah, the standings, though, still Envy at the top looking strong, collecting a total of 9 points after 3 wins, which is crazy because that used a spot that Space Station used to be in, and they are currently at 3 points with 1 win and 2 losses.
Yeah, I mean, some teams have definitely gotten a good run of their teams that are coming up. Other teams, you know, still have to go through the gauntlet of playing the harder teams. So obviously everything can shape up, but every point matters. I mean, stage 1, the battle for 6th place was between 7 points. So obviously, the more points you get now, the better it looks later on.
That kind of is how maths work.
Right.
You know.
Wasn't my best
Mathematicians.
subject.
Crazy. Anyway, a little bit of housekeeping as well. There was a bug in the studio, so if at any point you hear me screaming or running out of my chair, you do know why. But the schedule for today, instead, the games that we're going to be looking at, starting things off strong, I guess, question mark about that, but it's Shopify against Standby LFO. The game that you said yesterday that you were looking forward to was Envy SSG.
Oh, absolutely. Just because we highlighted them specifically in the standings, SSG previously stage 1 champions, you know, they tapered off a little bit, looking to have their own struggles of being that top team. Maybe a lot of it. Envy, on the other hand, since picking up Aiden, wow, top of leaderboard, 3-0. But today's their first matchup against a team that was in that top 4 from stage 1. So I'm excited to see how they match up together.
I would say a lot of the games are pretty balanced across the board. Maybe less of the first game, but I would say going down the list, given how well everyone's been playing, or maybe in other areas, not so much. But if I was to pick out one game that I am looking forward to the most, I'd honestly say the Oxygen versus Wildcard. Not to jump on Wildcard side here, more on the Oxygen. It was a very impressive showing from them yesterday, specifically in those attacks, where that's always been the biggest focal point of why we talk about Oxygen and where they lack. And the fact that yesterday they showed a dominant performance versus a team like SSG, I am curious if they bring that same tenacity into this matchup against Wildcard.
Yeah, consistency is maybe not something that is a strength of OXG, but this could be the stage where they prove us all wrong and they show us that they have some consistency. But the first game that we're going to be looking at is Shopify going up against Standby LFO. Shopify here is looking at a 4-0 start to the split, whereas when you're looking at Standby LFO, it's like the complete opposite of that coin. They're going 0-4, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, but when we talk about consistency, Shopify Rebellion is always going to be that team. I mean, individually, every single player on that team is a monster. I think it's just about the minute details to push them from good to great that they need to get over. As for Standby, they're still trying to get to good. And obviously, we've seen them keep it close. But, you know, one of these days, one of these games, they're going to have to cross that finish line.
Yeah, Shopify is a roster that we always highlight every single one of those players and continuously, time and time again, whenever we talk about them. And that literally has not changed.
No, nothing has changed from stage 1 to stage 2 realistically. They're still currently undefeated. They win today. They are going 4-0. They're keeping the streak strong in these best-of-1 series. Obviously, the big testament is those best-of-3s, but they're making a very good run so far to get back to those best-of-3s and right their wrongs when we do get to playoffs.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, when it comes to the rest of Shopify on that roster specifically, I mean, not only does it come from big heroics, but individually, every single player on that team is so talented, but it's about making sure that there's not too many cooks in the kitchen. They're able to calm it down and focus on that leadership from Canadian.
Yeah, you're talking about the heroics, and yesterday one player particularly really stood out because that was the clip of the week, maybe of the whole entire stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked about yesterday. We're going to talk about it again today. Surf's performance was paying dividends in terms of this overall success from the side of Shopify. And again, he didn't give himself credit when we talked to him in that interview because, again, I said this and it sticks true. It reigns true. He is the backbone of this roster. A lot of the team thrives off the being of how well Surf plays his position and allows everyone to excel in their own playing rights. And you look at his EPS, 209, 16-2, 100% cost. You couldn't ask any more out of this kid and what he's putting in terms of numbers. Again, Surf is a main proprietor as to why a lot of success really does come down to overall SR's continuation of these 0-4 records, or well, possibly an 0-4 record going into today.
You mean 4-0?
I mean, sorry, 4-0. Yeah,
I was
you
gonna
know, you know what I mean. Not 0-4.
Speaking of 0-4,
Oh, yeah,
That was a good segue.
Yeah, speaking of 0-4, standby LFO. That is what they are looking at. This is a roster, though, that we have seen glimpses of what they can do, but they genuinely don't seem to be able to bring these games over the finish line.
No, I mean, despite their 0-3 start to the stage, it's not indicative of their talent, obviously. They have kept every single game close, and they've obviously played some very formidable players from very formidable teams. I mean, if we take a look at so far the teams that they've played, I mean, 2 of those 3 were Stage 1 top 4 players. Envy's currently the #1 team in Stage 2. So at the end of the day, it's only going to get easier for standby. That being said, it's really a testament to how much they can learn from those losses playing the better teams and grow from it.
Yeah, especially when we're looking at LFO, I think something that we really wanted to highlight was just when it comes to some of the mistakes or some of the issues that we're seeing them commit consistently in these rounds.
It's the discipline at the end of the day. They have no real veteran leadership on the team, so they're trying to grow with it. But all of their issues in Envy's matchup was individually giving fights. They're playing strats, but I don't believe that the rest of LFO understand why they're doing these strats in the first place. They'll have rounds so easily won, but they don't get who's playing where for what reason. And the final round, yes, it was a 3v5, but they get the case down on bank basement. For them to be able to lose this because they don't know where the win condition is coming from. They think the dirt player has it, but they have 2 people on the hatch, both watching the flank. They're not communicating who's going to be able to cover the diffuser first. They put themselves in positions to win, to find success, but at the end of it, they don't communicate what the real win condition is. So they're in the right place. They just need to they need to understand what the right thing to do is for each individual player and what everyone on the team is doing. Not just play the strat to play the strat. They really need to fully grasp it. And I think the rounds will go a lot smoother, and maybe they'll be able to cross that finish line and have a 7-5 on their side.
There was a round specifically against Envy that we thought really highlighted a lot of the issues that we were seeing from the side of LFO, and that was round 12.
Yeah, it was round 12. I mean, we saw briefly at the end of those clips, and it was essentially just LFO getting the post plant. They are in a man-down deficit, but when you have the post plant on basement, we know you can just play from the hatches. They have 2 people upstairs on the hatches, but both players are watching flank. There's not a necessity for both players to watch the flank. The communication clearly wasn't there.
Yeah, and for the side of standby LFO, I think it makes the whole map veto situation a little bit more complicated as well, because there necessarily isn't a map where they have done incredibly well. And you're going up against a team like Shopify, who is happy to take you wherever at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Shopify really has the pick of the litter here in terms of what map they want to take standby to. It really is going to come down to standby, as Fox was saying. They need to come together with, especially in those mid to late rounds, of understanding where the win condition is, what they can do to make a round fall in their favor, and that's where they've been struggling, clearly. As for Shopify, again, they're going to feel comfortable here. They have every reason to put standby in an uncomfortable position, given their performance so far. And again, especially after that Cloud9 matchup, I can't imagine going to Lair that this is going to be a great outcome for standby. This is a slightly comfortable map for standby. They did have a good showing versus Cruelty on it. Maybe, you know, you obviously chalk that up to, yes, it was Cruelty, but still, for Shopify, I don't think that this is a bad pick. by any means for them to just try to make Standby feel uncomfortable.
Is it also safe to say that because we've seen Standby on this map specifically already, that it's just more comfortable for SR to go against them because they do have the resources to be able to put in the prep?
Yeah, I think when you look at the strats that Standby does, and even the VOD review that Standby does on their own, they don't really change up anything.
No,
so SR definitely can take full advantage knowing that Standby probably hasn't changed anything from the last time they've shown this, and they're probably just going to abuse the fact that they can just pick apart a lot of these sites on their defensive halves.
We've also seen in week 1 that Standby clearly doesn't pay that close attention to previous teams' footage. I mean, they played Cafe twice, so did M80. They literally did not look at anything that M80 was doing to try and counter. They just played their game and tried to run through the repetitions. Shopify Rebellion is not that kind of team. They will use your weaknesses against you. They will spend the time going through every little thing to make sure that they counter it. So when it comes to the question of experience, Standby is not there yet. Shopify Rebellion clearly has the tools to be able to understand how to break down Standby.
And I think that's the big thing versus experience versus inexperience, as you so candidly put, is when they're in a situation in terms of not knowing what they need to do or not to be doing, that's a matter of experience and understanding. You can't just follow a blueprint. You can't just follow the strat book down to the T. Things have to be changed. You have to be able to adapt, and that's where they're going to struggle. Where on the side of Shopify, they understand if something doesn't fall through in terms of their strats, they know how to correct it. Troy knows how to put everyone in a different position to make that round then come back into their favor. So again, this really is going to come on the backing of Bino to quickly identify where things are going wrong, but not just on Bino, the players as well, given their positions. If they lose, a certain power position, certain control of the map, they need to understand what the priority is after that happens.
At the end of the day, when we're looking at both of these teams, it generally feels like this is Shopify's game to lose. If anything, most likely that's not going to be the case because we've seen this team. We know the discipline that they have. We know the roster that they have in place. Everything should be working out for them. So for the side of Standby or like LFO, what I'm thinking about is what can be their main takeaways from the game? What needs to be that mentality heading into this to set themselves up for success as much as possible?
I mean, I think the first thing is obviously trying to fully understand what the strat is and making sure that you're paying attention to everybody on your roster and trying to limit Spoit and Ambi's impact on getting those opening kills. I think it really comes down to that because Standby's biggest issue is losing bodies to positions that they should know they're exposed to. They should know is not covered. So if they can manage that, that'll make things a lot easier to grow from as Standby.
So prediction is Standby?
No, I'm going 7-2 for Shopify. 7-1 for Shopify. They're on defense first.
Okay.
I'll say 7-3. I'll give a little bit of grace given how well Standby has looked. Granted, they haven't crossed that finish line. I don't want to completely say that it's going to be a landslide given the performances that they've had, huh?
All right, you know what? Instead, we're going to be heading over to our casters because these two need to be put on mute. So guys, take it away.
Honestly, it's very rare for a caster to say this. You could just put us on mute because I think this is going to be a pretty quick one. If you want to just take a nap, maybe like get in the zone, meditate a little bit. I don't know if you're really going to miss all that much because Ollie, Shopify versus Standby on layer, I think this is just going to be a team diff.
I think the map really speaks quite a lot, doesn't it? Layer is a map that we know Shopify to be fantastic on. And I love watching them on it. I love watching them attack it, to be honest. I think they've got a very good understanding of that. Obviously, we're seeing them start off on the defense tonight, and I guess we'll get to see them on that attacking stage. It just really depends for how many rounds. Something that I was kind of going to throw in as like just a little curveball is that as good as SRR, we do often see them go into an overtime in games where it maybe is a little bit avoidable. Now, obviously, yesterday was very different. That was one of the most dominant scorelines you can get at 7-1. It's only bettered by a 7-0. But I don't know, SR have got a little bit of a history for letting things go on just a touch too long.
Yeah, and I mean, so far this stage, last stage, both them and Dark Zero were almost flawless until the end. Obviously, that changed when Shopify won against Dark Zero toward the end. But Shopify were flawless the whole stage with almost all regulation victories, except like one OT win in the group stage. They're already obviously hit that 2 overtime thrust point, 8-7 victory over Wild Card, but then also 8-7 victory over Dark Zero. Now, I would argue that both of those are better than what I think the OT game was against Envy last stage toward the beginning. So definitely, I think better opponents, especially when it comes to Shopify versus Dark Zero. But as you said, they are a team that sometimes can take a little bit to get things over the finish line. But where Shopify have been so good is they're just still so consistent in getting it over the line. Whereas on the opposite side, Standby's consistency really comes in their standard of play. They don't change up a whole lot. They don't regress a whole lot, but they also don't really improve that much either. It's kind of with a lot of these teams when you have, Eddie, Kixrow, kind of this core roster of players. Now, obviously, Bino, Fens, Epic joining. We've always kind of seen the same level of play from them, no matter what the 2, 3, or 5 fifths of the roster are. But anyway, as we get on layer and into the ban phase, the one thing that I thought of was what you mentioned, which is Shopify not only played this map a lot, they were similar to how they were one of the first teams to start bringing in Aurora, one of the first teams to really start bringing in Layer. I distinctly remember the first time I ever saw a team run a second floor defense with a Tachanka, it was Shopify, almost right after the map launched, and that's one of the default ways of holding this site. They were literally out the gate with some of what became the default ways to hold sites on this map very quickly, and if that's not evidence of how well practiced they are on this map and how much this map is like a comfort pick for them, I don't know what else could be.
Yeah, I think it's such a smart thing to do, right? As soon as the map gets it released into the pool, you may as well just adopt it straight away because you're going to have to start playing it sometime. There's no point practicing further on maps that you've already got a good or decent understanding on. You may as well adopt that new map straight away. So I think it's a real smart move from them. Obviously, Lair it's still the new map, although it has been around for what feels like some time now. It's like, still a map that a lot of people don't want to play.
It's like it's gone from being the new map to the most recent addition. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you've kind of got to make that distinction, right? Because you don't want people to be sat there going, "What? A new map came out this season? I don't remember that."
It's like it's no longer new, but it is the most recent map to join the pool, and you do still see some teams who are, say like Virtus Pro, for example, who is that kind of team where they've got their 6 maps. They love them. They're big fans of them. They're always hesitant to kind of add in something new to their
6?
pool. I think it's like 7 now at this point. To be fair,
I thought it was like 5.
Okay, it's 6. It's 6.
It's actually nice for once that someone from NA isn't just dunking on EML.
No, I will dunk on EML as a meme, but like I didn't really like EML. Like I like Virtus Pro. I like Falcons. Really like G2 right now. I like Secret. Joom,
there's a lot to like.
Great dancer.
Ooh,
oh,
epic.
I don't like that.
You've just droned this. That has literally just been droned, my friend.
That's okay. That looks like a counter and a half right there. Well, we've got a couple DMR shots in a softball directly looking at a double door that Epic walked in without really being worried about. That definitely was a counter by Shopify, and goes to the desk's point that Standby don't change a lot, and clearly Shopify are ready for it. Probably also evidenced by the guy who is, Canadian, who's like inside the door basically with a shotgun around the corner. Seems like Shopify are more than prepared for what Standby are going to do.
Yeah, they know exactly what they need to do right now. Canadian's not worried about anything at the moment. He might have to start worrying about Bino, depending on how these things go. I think he's got Surf there for a bit of protection, but it's not a great deal. But at the moment, Standby are just getting snubbed out. The barbed wire's the early warning system. And yeah, we've got somebody playing deep in there, although Bino is just going to be allowed to de-shield. I kind of feel like Rexon's dropped the ball a little bit there.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a Rexon not calming or a miscomm between the two and Canadian not hearing. I don't know. That definitely should not happen, but at the same time, I mean, it's a 4v2. Canadian's the only guy that died. Rexon is in a bit of a difficult spot. He can't exactly fall back, but the wall's still open, and again, we're splitting hairs. Standby have done, by and large, nothing to dislodge the Shopify defenders. That wasn't completely given to them. In the case of Canadian prone on the floor. Rexon, Spoit, and Surf, I believe, are all holding this position. Rexon even kills Bino in the process. Yeah, no, like... Could we talk about the Rexon Canadian miscomm? Sure, I don't care though. It was not.
Just bait
it's not
him,
material,
honestly.
Really, yeah, exactly.
Just bait him. Like Canadian stats aren't going to suffer too badly. I wouldn't feel too hard on yourself there, Rexon. You just gotta let him be the carrot, and you can be the stick. To be fair, I think Canadian used all 3 of his toxic babes just on the doorway. His part in that round was played.
It's also like
Even if he gets back to
site.
site. Yeah, even if he gets back to site, I don't really know if it does anything too significant. That's probably one of the weaker attempts at an attack that I've seen of that top floor, to be fair.
I was about to say...
Nothing happened.
I was about to say, I think I made this joke on the SAL broadcast. I was like, this is the first round of Rainbow Six history where nothing happened. I actually think I was wrong.
Second?
I think if that was the first, this was the second. But if it's like a matter of degrees, I think this was the first. Like, genuinely, nothing happened that round. And like, I'm not just saying that to like, you know, like do a bit and have fun, right? I mean, what happened? Epic walked in, immediately got shot through a hole in the wall. Then a minute and 40 seconds pass, or I guess an extra minute happens after that death. And then Bino walks up the hall, shoots Canadian, and they're stuck at that door, and they all die.
Do you give him the benefit of the doubt and say, well, you lost the book straight away, maybe we didn't get to see the full plan, but then you think about it and you think what the book's actually going to do? I don't think it's going to add that much.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think the vert pressure, like, adds something on this site, but I've never seen it, like, make or break an attack or, like, really save the attack, except in some maybe, like, very, very rare instances, but it's not that strong. Or it's not that strong.
Well, Standby are going to have to book their ideas up a little bit here. Otherwise, the desk may be right. But it is still very early days. Only round number 1 played and into round number 2 now. Downstairs to the basement, we turn our attention. SR, their stall is set pretty clear. They just want to try and deny time and space. But fortunately for Standby, they do have some tools that they can use to try and make this a little bit easier. Something they will have a trouble with, though, is destroying those Vulcan packs. They're going to have to use those nades and hope that they get some either fortunate timing or some good bounces as those nades sail down through the floor. A bit of info there as to Rexon's position, but he's not too worried. He's got a beeper on his door, which he actually very kindly points out for us there, so we can see that he's got just a bit of an early warning system going on. Fens is concerned as Ambi looks to be on the prowl with a little bit of information on this mid-floor.
I think definitely a possibility Fens is worrying about, though, whether he knows Ambi's flanking or not. Just good foresight. Keep an eye on that flank, especially since Fens will want to turn his eyes downward at some point. But, ooh, oh no. Eddie wraps around. Ambi ready for it, too. Good trade by Bino with the roaming from Shopify. Much more lethal. What timing on that? Spoits just set the pipe to burst, walks away, and Bino... I think everybody's still learning those timings a bit, still getting used to these destructible ingredients. So another 2v4 that Standby don't really have a good way out of, especially since Spoit is still threatening a flank. Just something that once Fens or Kixrow look to move down, he'll strike, go for the backstab, or at least based off the sound, give the people on the site information as to where they might be pushing. If he hears something, say, hey, they're by me. If not, hey, they're clear. Just incumbent upon Shopify not to peek at this point. All Standby have to go off of are these gunfights. Doesn't check around the corner. Good off angle held by Surf. Maybe going for the second. We'll find it. 2 in a row for Shopify as another defense where I don't think we can really complain all that much.
No complaints. I think Spoit's probably hit the flashiest kill we've seen without a bullet, let's say.
Especially because he killed a guy that then shot that and walked away.
Like, did he turn around to shoot it again to make it explode quicker, or had he just got the timing of the gods?
I'm pretty sure it was just timing of the gods, to be honest with you. Oh, no, he did shoot it. You're right.
He shot it.
He did shoot it.
That's
actually...
That's even better. Like, because those things, I haven't worked it out yet. I'm stood next to one of those things, and I'm like, I don't want to go through because I know what's going to happen. But if you shoot it again, it's going to explode quicker. Genius. I love how he knew that he was going to get chased as well because it was the BB. It was just there's some moments in scenes where you just think that you could not have made a better play. Like, that is genuinely the best play you could have made.
There's actually, it's funny you say that. There's another really good Shopify moment involving a shield. God, when was it? I think it was at Montreal. I don't remember who Shopify were playing against, but Surf was roaming on Nighthaven and there was a blitz chasing him. And He goes down through basement, hears the blitz chasing him, walks into, I think it was like, it wasn't assembly, it wasn't tank. God, the call's escaping. What's the room next to the site? You know, the one you'll like place a mirror window on to watch the assembly breach.
Oh, it's like a control room or something, isn't
Control
it?
or something. I don't know. Either way, he runs into that room, and the blitz ADSs start shooting through the wall. So instead of continuing, Surf anticipates that the blitz would try to pre-fire him through the wall and peeks back out, like re-peeks the doorway he just ran through and shoots the blitz in the head. And it's just like moments like that where like you really see players understand the behavior of somebody who uses a shield. Not even like that specific player, just like the general mentality of Bino in that case or whoever it was in that Surf example I just gave. It's always satisfying when you see somebody anticipate player behavior like that and make the right call based off it.
Standby needs to start doing a little bit of that because they aren't getting very many kills
They need to stop
with
standing by.
guns. So, yeah, they need to activate. Back up to the top floor. So, sorry, into the mid floor. So, Fens, hello? Is this a new strat we're seeing? He's just sort of, he's got himself quite deep. He's knocking on the door of the site. Might be able to find himself one. Ooh. Obviously, we have the outlines, but they don't. Zami needs to be careful.
Gap. That's a good gap from Fens. Could definitely get overlooked by the defense. Of course, there is the factor you always have to consider, which is this vertical hold. How are teams going to deal with it? Are they just going to bait pressure, then rotate off? It seems like Standby are looking to create some new angles to try and directly counter them. C4 goes out. How does Epic not even take a little bit of damage from that? Still, quick feet get him to evade the brunt of that danger tossed out by Rexon. There's a 4-man hold up top. That Azami we were worried about down below, exposing her self-defense, has now moved up, joined the rest of the defense upstairs. Well, 60% of it at least. They know that this player's around the corner. You see that Z-ping. Bino, at least I think, is aware of it. Yeah, still getting pinged. Gotta know that Rexon is just around the corner. Plus to charge out will force Rexon. He gets the kill on the fall off. Swings again. Thankfully, Bino finds that one. Not often we see direct clears up top work, but Bino also anticipating. Surf to go for the reswing, challenging the fuse. Switches to the pistol. Oh, it's a matter of degrees, but Surf, shotgun in hand, makes it work. I don't know what the hell Canadian just did. That had to have been a fat finger. Just gets on cams in front of him. Been a bit of an oddly placed round, but Surf just smoked that guy as we had to turn the TV off. That shot was so nasty. 15 seconds left, 10 seconds, excuse me. And while Surf falls, it's just Ambi with only 5 seconds to go. One drops down the hatch. Will the next join soon after? Yes, they do! Feed them to the UMP 1 by 1. And in the 1v2, Ambi gives Shopify their third.
Strange round. I was looking at that attack from Standby and I was thinking, what have they got that is going to be able to be used to burst into this site effectively? And the fuse cluster charge wasn't on my list of things that you would like to have in that position. It does a great job, but Rexon, because of the activation time, he's got there's no sort of consequence to swinging and picking up the kill. If that was a Yin Candela, if it was a smoke, if it was fire, it's a lot more immediate. The fuse is very much a telegraphed piece of utility. Standby did do a very good job of trading, and to be fair, it was one of the more effective ways of taking that top floor. It was a little bit weird, though.
Yeah, it was
good. Canadian hitting a prone, and I don't know if he thought he was dead, or I think at least the player that shot him thought that he was downed because he went to prone. I'm not sure why he'd flicked into the cameras. Maybe he was just immediately recognizing, well, I'm dead, so I'm going to go in the cameras and start flicking. A little bit of a weird one. Standby, we've got to give him a little bit of credit there, though, Lynx, because they had an idea, and to a degree, it did work. And let's be honest, they're in a 2 versus 1 at the end. There's a lot of times that you win a 2 versus 1, just not often when you're up against Ambi.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's not just against Ambi, but Ambi in that position with that time remaining, like, Ambi knows what to do. If both players are on the second floor, and they gotta get down to the bottom floor as quickly as possible, where are they probably gonna come from? The hatch. So he just sits there below, waits, and sure enough, one comes in. And doing this, that's exactly what you should do in this position. Ambi's a very good player, and as you said, Ambi in a 1v2, even if things were harder, is the kind of player who's gonna win those situations. But it didn't exactly require a lot of brain power for Ambi to do just now. It just kind of had to be, okay, I've been here before. I have all the information. I can put the pieces together well. And of course, Ambi's good enough to put those pieces together, not trying to like diminish the accomplishment completely. It was, you know, a good 1v2, good thing he won. But because of the actions and the way that round had transpired for a standby, it was a very easy calculus to make, I think. And so Shopify very much just playing the team and playing the game in front of them right now, and it's one that I don't think is demanding all that much. They are playing the layer they've been playing for a while, both teams are, and for Shopify, I think at the moment, it just is a layer that is a cut above standby.
It's a little bit more refined, isn't it, on the side of SR?
Which I would hope it would be, to be clear. If it weren't more refined, that'd be a warning bell.
But the refinements come as well as some nice little adaptations. I think round 1 was a great example.
Right out the
I'm
gate.
actually looking forward to going back and re-watching some of Standby play in Lair and see just if these entry points are to be challenged so heavily. Look at this. Never want to shy away from a fight. And I think that's part of the confidence as well that players like Spoit are going to have today, because they are genuinely going to feel like they are the best player in the server. They're not worried about going up against anyone for a fight. Not that they usually are, but I feel like it gives them that little bit extra level of freedom.
Especially if you're coming off a game like yesterday, where Surf hit that 1v5. Like I would hate to be any team that's playing Shopify coming off a game like that yesterday, where it just so clearly looked like you were the better player team and the better players individually. I mean, Spoit had a 3K, Surf had multiple multi-frags and a 1v5, Rex in 3K as well. Like, it's just one of those games that the 7-1 is obviously great, but even especially for a lot of the players that we see doing well right now, which would be everybody except Canadian, it's going to give them so much more confidence, as you said. I mean, half the round in, what's happened, Ollie? Like, genuinely, what's happened?
I don't know. We're watching a Blackbeard run across the roof to a Lion that's also on the roof. A hop in, maybe? Well, I guess it is. Kicks throw straight on him, but with this layered level of defense, there's not a great deal that they can do with it. Caught in the Banshee, needs to try and disable that.
Nobody to trade him if he goes down, by the way. Yeah, no, he just hops out.
He can't stay. Like, the floor to Rocket Stairs was a little bit open. Obviously, you've got Eddie playing there, but there's always the possibility of a retake. Oh, dear.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, this is what happens when you start to rush and make mistakes. Like, that's just a pure freebie. You never see an entry kill with a knife, by the way.
Just stabbed him in the back, shotgun around the corner, Epic. Ooh, okay, we'll find a big kill. Charging up the hole, only a 3v3 at the moment, but Epic has secured control of the bathroom position. Waiting for somebody to peek, also has the opportunity. I'd advise both parties to choose that engagement carefully. They've got plenty of time to pick Fens back up, so now it's Shopify, not only the man deficit, but Ambi also on 1 HP. Even if the rest of this attack isn't clean, there's a very clear angle for Standby to close this out. Spoit 2 stuck on the opposite side of this breach, can be flashed and pinched by the whole attacking lineup. Ambi still gets a kill. Spoit still works his way out of this mess. Smoke's landing at the exact right time, so Bino's got to move to the off spot. And Shopify continue perfect play on layer. A clinical 3v4.
You got to feel bad for Shopify in some ways there, because that could have been, I don't know, it could have been a lot cleaner. I think from Standby's point of view, you look at that and go, if you hadn't just spent so much of the early round doing, let's face it, not a lot, this wouldn't have been too much of a problem. But they have just been rinsed on every single part of their information. I would have liked to have maybe seen some Bs from Eddie just to check that the coast was clear there. They didn't have any drones left when when Kicksrow hops in and gets stabbed out by Surf. It's one of those. It's an unfortunate one. But Shopify are going to play, especially at that time point in the round, they're going to play a little bit further up front. They're not going to be really tucked into the site because they've got time and they've got a really nice layered defense. And the layers just, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Because they're sort of working for Shopify in some ways because it gives them somewhere to play. But at the point when Standby are running through them, they just don't care. They can't afford to worry about where's got a line of sight onto where and what piece of utilities. People are tanking laser gates, they're walking through Banshees because there's just no time left.
which has been one of the themes of this half. Aside from the first round where Rexon was holding a pre-placed angle at an entry point that Epic has clearly used before, every opening pick has happened with less than a minute, 10 seconds left in the past 2 rounds. Less than a minute left entirely. Standby have clearly been working through their options and not just committing to the first thing that comes to their mind. But they're struggling to find any good options. They're struggling to come up with any good plan. So Shopify know that if a team is struggling to do that, the best way to give them a leg up is to give them openings and gunfights. And well, I was going to say they're not doing that, but Ambi
what is
does
that assumption?
Yeah, Ambi, oh my goodness. He even re-peaks that. That's the confidence I'm talking about. It can burn you, it can work, but Ambi goes 1-for-1 against the Dokkaebi. I'd still make that trade, but the point I was going to say, if you are going to take those fights, that's what you have to do. See where the intel is, try and find a gap between the intel and the follow-up, and then you take the fight. Does Ambi have to take that gunfight? No. Probably could just like play a little more passive, and that'd be the safer bet. But if you're going to do it, that's the way it should have been done.
Unlucky on the bars there from Fens. Is able to start trying to remove some of that site utility, but they're going to have the same problem that they had previously attacking this site, and that is that Spoit is out there on the prowl. There's a good bit of information available. At least know where Rexon is, but again, it just feels like a carbon copy of round number 2 at the moment, save for that interesting opening pick. A little bit of info on the site as well. Bino. Got something to work with there, and dependent on how successful Fens is up here, it could be good, but we know that Spoit is hanging around, and look at all the tools that he's got to play with. He's even got a mirror window up there on that second floor as well. Yeah, you can push the site all you like, but Ram has opened up the vert, and that's just going to give something for Spoit to play with later. It's a case of now either dealing with him or entirely ignoring it and hoping that you can overwhelm. There it is. That's the important kill of this round. Everything now should be opened up. There's no threat of a flank, no worry from above, and Fens can just operate now in this vert that he's made.
They also have the Blackbeard to make space and the guns to follow it up. My only worry, Bino with the diffuser. I kind of want the Blackbeard to put the pressure on in this situation, and maybe somebody follows up behind him and puts the diffuser down. But then again, like you said, they have the space, they have the opportunity, and the shield will still provide some very necessary protection. Right there, the case in point, but Rexon still finds a way around the corner, shoots Bino despite the Blackbeard doing his best to shield that damage. Surf domes Fens around the corner, but Eddie's got the time to make it into the post, saved by the bell, or by the guns of Kixrow, as he covers the planter and gets the final kill. First round on the board, and boy, does it take a hell of a while to get there.
I would have had a big problem. That would have been a roll call. We would have had to need alibis as to where people were when that plant went down, because how was he able to get that kill? I have no idea. He just appears out of nowhere and disappears into the smoke. That plant should be going down with the amount of cover that was available. I can't believe he's just peeked out there. Fortunately for Standby, they make it happen. Kixrow with a nice 2 to end it. There would have been a serious steward's inquiry if Standby hadn't won that round. We would have been going back over the VAR. Now, I do want to talk about the opening pick. If you're droning and you see Vigil spikes on your drone, you can't assume anything is clear. You can't just think, oh, it's okay, he'll be above, or oh, it's okay, he'll be below. He very well might be in the room that you have just droned. And that is today's lesson. Let's just everybody learn something from that. And especially if you're playing against Shopify, and especially if you know that Ambi likes to play Vigil. Just don't do it. Don't take that fight. Give yourself a little bit more surety.
Standby get one on the board, though. And we can forgive that, well, at least I can forgive that opening with the closer after. The 4-2 half wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, I suppose. Could be okay. It might be less than a Shopify that, okay, we had our fun. Let's chill out a little bit. Especially on a mid-floor defense, we know what works or what can get us the closest to our victory, which is holding that top floor, running that extension back. It's the exact same lineup across the board from that previous Bunks defense in round 3 down to the positions. Shopify are not trying to get things too complicated. It is quite literally the exact same defense. We'll see how Standby try to wrap their heads around it. They bring in a Ying this time instead of a Fuse. Still some damage exchanged early on. Spoit losing quite a lot of health. And Standby, by and large, still not worse for wear.
I think the Ying's a much better pickup than the Fuse for this take that we've seen Standby like to go for. Ben's, unfortunately for him, he'll lose his life quite early. Getting a little bit antsy at the breach there. A bit of a problem because the Deimos is a really nice tool to have when clearing out this top floor. Not only because you get the shotgun, but also those death marks can just give you a nice little pinpoint as to where people are, and an extra body is never a bad thing. Haven't seen those Candelas used just as of yet. Kixro just hiding out in display room window at the moment. Is going to hop himself out. This is what we talk about with Standby in the stall. Especially when you look at Epic's position right now. He's like ready to start knocking on the door of the site. He's at the top of Rocket Stairs and his two teammates, well, they're not in yet. They're not committed. Still hanging outside of display. Only now we start to see Bino hop in. Don't forget, they haven't got the extra man to help watch things here either. Shopify doing a really good job of burning the clock so far.
This is the recipe they've employed for basically every round up until they started getting, like, basically once Ambi started pulling out Vigil in round 4, Shopify individually were getting a little more liberal with their play, and now it's all back to use an Ollie phrase, belt and braces. Just chilling, just vibing, not trying to get things too crazy. Spoy and Ambi just win the fights presented. Bino, that pistol will at least find one, maybe a second. Nice little flick onto Surf there. Don't want to see a huge throw from Shopify, as you have the winning formula. They do have intel on one player directly below the bomb chassis, though. Might be able to see that leg if you can find the angle. They'll go and make the hole. Okay. We have something here now, especially with Spoit on such low HP. Candelas go in. Both defenders still on the top floor, but a BP looking directly at Bino. So while Epic's concerned with the fight coming from below, he gets Spoit through the wall, but they still down the planter from the vert. Shopify with another close one, but still one that moves over the line. 5-2-1.
It's a real shame that the BP was there from a Standby point of view. It was a great piece of utility from SR's point of view. But such a shame because that round and that take, so successful. The addition to Ying having the machine pistol now, it just opens that operator right up. The 612 shotgun has been a meme for the longest time. And whenever we'd previously seen it used, you'd do a sharp intake of breath and you'd go, oh my goodness, why is this person bringing this? Now that Ying has the machine pistol secondary, it's so viable. And it's a really nice tool, as demonstrated, just ripping through the floor, close range engagements, whatever it might be. It gives Ying a little bit more of that sort of bursting into sight. You feel like you can play off the back of your own utility a little bit better when you've got the shotgun. Brilliant play from Bino himself there. 3 kills on the round. Just unfortunate that the time was where it was at. I think that was the big problem in that round. And again, it comes down to the Standby stall. You know, they do put themselves into standby in that middle portion of the round. And all that as well. And they were a man down. They'd lost Fens on the Deimos really early on.
You know what's crazy?
What's crazy?
I don't even remember how he died. 10 seconds to go. Like, I'm watching the game the whole time. And just like these rounds, those 6 rounds went by just so monotonously. I don't even remember how he died. Like, what did Fens' death, like, did it further anything in this round? No.
Oh, he died on the breach. That was it.
And like,
he was peeking the breach.
If you didn't see him die at the breach, could you have even told me there was a breach?
No.
That's what I mean. Anyway. We'll see how Shopify fare on their attacking side. Standby are familiar with some game of one side, well, I suppose one-sided games on layer in terms of, I don't know, the word's not coming to me. Basically, they played a game against Cruelty last stage. They went down like 5-1 on their attacks, came back 1-7-5 on their defenses. So they've been in this position before. Different opponent, perhaps. Maybe they just have
Only a little bit.
very, very strong defenses. Got the Tachanka on our 6 room. I was talking about it earlier. Azami playing a bit more aggressively to contest ops. Kicks row around the corner, playing the Kobe Lax position. Can fight the single window, throw a Grzmot on it, or swing around on a rocket stairs. Not a bad setup.
Since when did Kobe Lax get a position?
I mean, I don't know if it's his position, but I just associate it with him now. I'm an NA. I can do what I want.
People have worked hard. People have worked hard forever to get positions.
You don't think Kobe Lax has worked hard?
Oh yeah, but like not for long.
I'm not going to start calling it Kobe Lax, just to be clear.
Ooh.
Nice.
Opening pick for Surf. Bino taken down. The smoke removed. This is a close range engagement for a Glaz, but Kixrow comes off better. Ella Scorpion. Great weapon for those close range engagements. The Glaz DMR, not so much. Ambi, struggling to find success on the vert, but eventually puts an end to Epic. The Azami playing behind the desk is always such a key linchpin player on this site. Eddie does have the Shumikas and can start to send those out there. There's 45 seconds or so, and he's got 17, so this doorway really ought to be flamed off for the majority.
We'll see it bounce out of the frame. Kixrow pushes up deep off the back of it. You can see Shopify, I was about to say, putting themselves in a little bit of a tricky position with the time spent, but they've at least traded sufficiently. Surf ties up the final 2, 6-1, and that desk prediction just 1 round away from a perfect score. Well, not perfect in terms of 7-0, but perfect for the desk's purposes.
Be a big week for SR as well, won't it? They go 14-2. I mean, okay, look at who they've played. They've played the teams that they were expected to win, but still, that is a serious scoreline.
I don't care. Plus 12 on round diff out of this. Like, I don't care.
That is a serious scoreline.
I mean, it would be, yeah, because with the game yesterday, if they won at 7-1, they'd be plus 14 round diff. And also, like, obviously they played Cloud9 and Standby right now, but they played Dark Zero game 2 and Wildcard game 1, who are like, you know, a top 16 you got to worry about. They've already played some difficult games, and still coming away with these first 4 with a plus 14 round diff is going to be crazy.
Yeah, they've had a nice mix, haven't they, really?
Yeah, honestly, it's like, it's been a very...
They've had 2 difficult games, and, I mean, all the games are difficult, but they've had 2 difficult opponents, and they've had 2 opponents which you've just got to be really careful of because anything could happen. This being one of those games. I think it's a great start.
Honestly, looking at their schedule, it is very well balanced. We got Standby today, we got M80 next week, followed up by OXG, so again, another, you know, top 4 contender, another kind of top 6 adjacent team. Then we got Envy, which is a bit more kind of the Standby category, though they are 3-0 right now.
Best team in the league.
Shut up. But then SSG and Cruelty, like, honestly,
it's factual.
Kind of a crazy balanced schedule from Shopify. Maybe a bit of a stacked, like, I don't know, not even really a stacked mid-game, I don't know. It's kind of like good week, bad week, good week, bad week.
Surf dusting off 0 for what could be the final round here on Lair. We do love a bit of 0 play. Plenty of Argus cameras. Get those sent out there and have loads to watch when you're in those. There's going to be a bit of an initial focus right now at just trying to clear out some of this utility. Get rid of some of the Lucy Banshees. Already, Rexon is in above. No ram needed for Rexon. He is he's an enjoyer of the book. He's an old skill, but a good one. Get that skeleton key out and rip open the floor. Seems to be doing it fairly self-sufficiently at the moment as well, with the rest of his team just operating in and around the site. Canadian just pressed up against the mirror window. Fens. Doesn't take much for him to find an angle there and to pick that headshot. That's really going to slam the brakes on any attempt at some sort of speed for this attack. And I think the SR are going to have to pivot.
It might need to with losing that blitz. Kind of operator that always gathers a lot of attention when the attack is thinking where to play. Ben's finding the next. Surf, good trade. How has this happened? Oh, no. bit of a wobbly position that Shopify and Standby find themselves in, as 5v3 seemed all but guaranteed, and yet immediate answer back. Malusi, Castle, and Tachanka now go down. Epic holding an aggressive position. That Spoit just pre-fires, just swings with all the confidence in the world, and now Shopify have the advantage. They can reset. They still got drones. 3 on the board. Who knows if they're active? Who knows if they can be used? But still information they could gather. More time to come, figure out where they plant. They find their way in. Nowhere for Eddie or Bino to take an angle aside from that C4. Yet Surf, whether he gets aggressive or Eddie swings, it's still Standby who put Rexon in a tricky spot. Almost let it slip away, but Standby recover. Put their second round on the board. And if attacks look like that, there is a way back in. Not a short one, but there is a way.
Yeah, a couple of things really need to be tightened up there, I think, from SR's point of view. You've got Canadian pressing himself up to the mirror window. No one really there to take immediate advantage of it. And I don't really know what the idea was off the back of that anyway, because he'd already smashed it. He already gathered the info. Just an unfortunate repeak. It was a brilliant kill from Spoit. At the point where Spoit gets the kill onto Epic, I'm thinking this is on. Like, he doesn't care, he's got no health. He's just going for it. But then the C4 lands, and it becomes a very difficult 1 versus 2 for Rexon to try and battle with. Still, all not lost for Shopify. They have a very healthy buffer right now. Standby are going to be moving into the mid floor. As is norm, we will be going for a top floor defense. They brought the Warden along this time, and they've brought the Solace. It's a very shotgun-heavy lineup as well. Both Epic and Eddie, and Bino for that matter, with primary shotguns.
I mean, it's something we see a lot on this top floor. Well, obviously not top floor site, but when the top floor is being defended, is you have a lot of really close corridors, kind of tight right angle corners, over by Rocket, for example. New Bridge being, I think, another, or in top of green being another very, I guess not New Bridge, top of green, another very common position where you can swing around into the hallway, swing around at the single door where we saw Canadian playing at the beginning of the game. And most of those gunfights, if you have a shotgun, you'll be the advantage party. So I think it makes sense, since even though they're not defending second floor, you're always going to have 3 to 4 people up top. Just a good part of the map for shotguns. Probably the best part of the map for shotguns, being honest.
Yeah. And we see the Solace again. Obviously, its uses are fairly limited these days, it feels. But if there is a plant going down, then you can, of course, see the planter. So maybe Epic playing the long game there. We'll have to see if we do get to that portion of the round or not. Early drone information from Spoit is going to call a little bit of utility in the site, but the majority fairly clear. If that nade lands, unfortunately didn't get the Vulcan pack. Did get the BP. There is still that small matter of the Vulcan pack, and as Canadian can see now on his drone, there are going to be a couple more kicking around as well. So a lot of attention at the moment being paid by Shopify in the drones particularly as to what this site setup is. They know that there's going to be Vert, that's fine. They know there are going to be Vulcan packs, they just need to know where they are. And then they can start to try and chip away at them with these grenades. Another attempt there from Spoit, and he will in fact find one this time. With Canadian's position, and another nade going in, this could shape up into quite a quick site push. And we might see Solace using the gadget a little bit earlier than we anticipated.
Could be forced into that position. Surf also in a very powerful spot on green. Not necessarily because of its threat to the site, but if somebody does decide to flank, could swing up, take that fight. Having a really good weekend, 11-5 at the moment, and yesterday against Cloud9, 16-2. It's 27 kills in 2 days for Surf, all on that hard support position. Doing really quite strong. Epic almost smokes that guy off the face of the earth, but that EE1D and the utility being used is what Canadian needs to get in. Look at how everybody on the top floor is distracted. And that's exactly how Shopify slip in unnoticed. Unfortunate timing for Rexon. Backs off right as the gunfight's taken, but he sets up again, holding that long angle. There's one. How about the second? You feeling lucky, Epic? It all comes up him today, but that's the only kill Standby will achieve. 1v4, 1v3. Upside down repel in the post when you're up 6-2. Oh my God, these guys want it so badly. And they'll get it. 7-2 scoreline for Shopify. The desk is not correct. No 7-1. That's just a -1 in the round diff. Shopify come out still flawless from the weekend and up 13 in round count.
Full 6 points for SR this week. They're going to be very happy with that. Just got to say, what a player Rexon is. Single-handedly causing that much disruption, so much so that the plank can go down. He was the only person on that top floor from SR. We're going to hit a break. After that, we'll be back with our desk.
Him on ping.
Drop. Oh no, Jimvert.
I have flight vert. Just play the post.
I have eyes on bomb.
Please
I can call
come
bomb.
rotate green side, Willie.
You can even go
Take
back
green
above
side
it.
for the bomb.
Alright,
Bomb.
after.
He's dropping hatch.
You
Oh,
swing
no,
when he
just
drops,
taking
please.
back.
Drops, go swing, please. Good shot.
Dude, easy game, guys.
Good job, guys.
Shit.
Good job, guys.
Good job, guys. Good week.
I don't think.
Easy game, good week. That pretty much sums it up so far for SR. A 7-2 win against Orgless. I mean, what can we say besides the fact that we'll just speak to one of their members? Believe we have Sploit ready for the interview as well. Congratulations on another successful week. I mean, okay. I don't know what that was, but someone's like...
That was Troy. That was Troy. Going
I've
crazy.
never heard Troy make a sound like that in my life. That was
He's
Yeah,
really
Troy's getting
excited.
crazy out there.
All right.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, celebrations are due. Another week, 4-0 start to the NAL second stage. What would you say is the biggest difference between the SR that we're seeing consistently right now and the one that we were seeing in stage 1?
I just want to say, first of all, props to the team for the hard work they've been putting in over the past, since the season started. We came in with like just a week of prac into the whole stage, so it was kind of shaky, but we managed to figure things out and it's looking good so far.
Yeah, it absolutely has been looking good. And I guess like from your perspective, when you just obviously have Surf going crazy yesterday, you always have Ambi to rely on. How much pressure does it take it off of your shoulders to individually perform? Are you just worried about that at all, or are you always just focused on the strat, the job?
I mean, you named it. I have some insane players on my team. Like, I be getting carried, man. Like, I be getting carried some games. Like, I just do my part, and they just pop off. So it's good that we have a team that everyone can pop off, and everyone has their games. So it's good. It's a good system, man.
Well, Sploit, I want to say congratulations. You guys are keeping the streak going in terms of in best of ones. I kind of want to talk about picking Lair for the matchup against Standby. Was that just due to the fact, obviously, you saw them beat Cruelty, you understood that they don't really change a lot of their strats, and I'm just curious, through your eyes and the prep that you guys had, did they really change anything from the last time of whatever you guys may have bod reviewed or prepped for?
So we haven't practiced LFO on this map for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't really know what we were going into. Like, are they gonna show something we've never seen? Probably not. So we just focus on our own game, on our own team play, because that's the important shit, man. Like, just focusing on yourself. Yeah. So just focusing on yourself, working on the team play. That's the key for us, and that's what we always try and focus on.
And then just a follow-up question. Obviously, we know you guys are very dominant in the best of ones. What are you guys kind of doing now to prep for getting into those best of threes again and kind of right the wrongs that not only went through the regular stage, but then even into EWC?
So an issue we had was that we, some of our maps that we would, play in best of threes and stuff weren't as strong going into EWC and stuff. So that's something we have, that's something we attack every day. We practice, adding more maps, figuring out certain stuff on this, on the maps that we have right now, like what needs to be changed, what needs to, all that stuff. So, you're just taking it day by day.
For sure. Well, you guys are looking clean.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and with Beast calling this game, he was the IGL. It's looking pretty good, man. Looking pretty good.
It is looking great, but I also would like to know, looking forward to the future in the NAL Stage 2 for SR, what can people be expecting?
A group of guys that will work hard, for sure. We will try our best. We will always, like I said, to try our best. We're gonna continue doing our stuff, playing hard Siege, keep winning them best of ones. Like, I don't even know what win streak is now, like 12 maps in a row or something like that. I'm not sure. 13. But yeah, that's pretty much a wrap, yeah.
All right, well, that is a wrap for the interview as well. Thank you so much for your time, and congratulations once again on a strong start to stage 2.
Yeah, they're definitely having a strong start. I mean, again, we already know how dominant they were in the best of 1 series throughout stage 1. They're continuing to do so here, and especially in even these last 2 games. I mean, dominance is clearly running through these guys. It was a 7-1, 7-2. Does that mean going into next week we see a 7-0, 7-3? I don't know, but they're definitely on the right path of getting into those playoff contentions already, just winning every single game so far.
I mean, it's the same situation as stage 1. First game was like an overtime double OT game to Envy. We thought that Shopify was human. They ended up going undefeated up until playoffs. So obviously similar storyline here, you know, close week 1, but now looks like they're in full form, just getting the reps under their belt of playing back to being online. And obviously, it was just another day for them. I mean, we could highlight every single player. We could highlight the strategy of what they were doing. But honestly, it'll just be the same things that we keep saying. From my standoff opinion is standby. I mean, it still looks like the same issues. Obviously, they're losing so many gunfights in positions that should be washed, or they should understand, okay, this is a risk area. I can die from these angles. I should know what's covered, what's not covered. It just looks like standby keeps showing up day after day, and it looks like, oh yeah, they're gonna have improvement, but it's still the same issues of lack of awareness, lack of understanding what their teammates are doing.
Yeah, it's frustrating because, again, you know, the first 3 play days that we've seen from them, it's been like, okay, yeah, you guys are looking good. Sure, you may be not crossing that finish line, but at least, you know, you're keeping it competitive. And then you come into this matchup, which, again, SR, they're a very formidable opponent. They're very dominant. They're outright. But to put up a performance like this, and then also to just look completely disjointed, even in that last round in that post plant, 2 players are trying to fight someone outside. They can't really have any coverage too much over the bomb where they can more focus on the player's insight and worry about that outside factor. And they're more focused on trying to go for this 2v1 fight that realistically isn't even helping the round in that situation. So it just goes to show, I mean, whether it's lack of VOD reviewing, whether it's just lack of prep, lack of adapting, there's still things that LFO can and needs to work on. It's not over yet. They still could possibly make playoffs, but they need to start ramping that up faster than we've seen it now.
Yeah, it's a long way to go for standby LFO if they do want to make those playoffs and if they just want to continue going. I mean, it also just gets to a point, right, where you're continuously hitting these games where you're so close yet so far, and maybe this is like that final hurdle, that mental barrier that they have that hasn't allowed them to really show up today. Next week, again, a new week for them to start from scratch, so hopefully they do better. But from our side of things, we have another game coming up. Envy against SSG. This is the new top dogs against the old ones coming up after the break.